Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who understand that there's more to entrepreneurship than finding the latest flash-in-the-pan strategies, who understand that in order to build your empire, you need a solid foundation. I wholeheartedly believe that entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development journey you can be on, and it's my mission to help you make that journey easier. In this show, I bring together the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist and mindset coach behind this show, and you're listening to the Wired for Success podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another epic episode of the Wired for Success podcast. Today you're in for a treat, because today my guest is serial entrepreneur Tom Matzen, who has started some 87 businesses of his own, 7 to 7 figures and beyond. He has made and lost millions several times over. And more importantly, his personal coaching clients have generated more than 100 million in sales in dozens of industries. He now leads an emerging global enterprise with a mission to transform the world by empowering entrepreneurs to embrace the new norm in business of doing good and making money at the same time. So welcome, Tom, and thank you so much for being on my show today.
Oh, you are so welcome back. I'm excited to be here. Happy to share what I can to help your listeners. I always think podcasts have two listeners at any one moment. You know, whether you have a big podcast or a small podcast, there's two people we're talking to. So hello to both of you, and glad that you invited me on. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm really looking forward to hearing your personal stories about your success and your failures in business and what you've learned from them. So Tom, for everyone who doesn't know you yet, can you please tell us a little bit about your background and your entrepreneurial journey? I mean, how did you end up building so many different businesses?
Yeah, clearly I can't focus. That's the short answer. Yeah, I started my first business when I was 16. I got the entrepreneurial bug full time when I was 23. And so I've been at it for more than 37 years. Had three basic eras to my entrepreneurial career. The first 10, 12 years, I helped bricks and mortar businesses start up. This was all BG for you kids out there before Google. I would do physical bricks and mortar businesses, service businesses, restaurants, cafes, retail shops. And I still chuckle to this day because the cheapest one of those was probably $50,000. Most were $100,000 to $200,000. And I talk to people today and they're like, $10,000 to start my business. Oh, that's a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, compared to what? When it's an online business, that might be a lot, but compared to a real business, not so much.
It's all relative.
So, did that for a long time. And that included a specialization in the later years on coffee bars. I built coffee bars across the globe, built 187 of them for clients and myself. Wow. And yeah, I think I built more coffee bars than any individual in the world, actually, outside of a chain. And so really loved that. Did a lot of them with in-store roasters. In fact, I think the closest one to where you live in Bavaria would have been in the Czech Republic. I never did build one in Germany, although I looked occasionally for locations. Never found the right combination. So, and then the last 10 years, I shifted to helping what I call create movements. For mission-driven entrepreneurs, people that want to take their knowledge and wisdom and package it and make a much bigger impact in the world and a much bigger income at the same time. And so that's been our focus. In particular, the last 4.5 years, we teach entrepreneurs how to do that and guarantee results for their clients at the same time. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that approach. That's so powerful. So when you look at all the things that you have done so far, what do you consider your biggest success and why?
Biggest success and why? Wow. Yeah. Well, definitely because I measure success as results for my clients. Mm-hmm. You know, we stopped counting the numbers past 100 million, but I'm very, very proud of that because, you know, fundamentally we're judged not by our knowledge that we're sharing, but by the difference it makes in other people's lives. or at least
Yeah.
if you're in the consultant advisory coaching world, you should be judged on that. Not everyone judges themselves on that, but I do, and we teach our clients to. So, and that continues today. We give away millions of dollars worth of scholarships to our most popular program, and we'll talk about that at some point today, I'm sure, because the listeners can get a scholarship to come join us if it's a good fit. And there, we're not making any money. We're giving away scholarships. But even that, when they get results, when they sell their first high ticket programs and they share a video or a win, a success story, it's just special. It's just special because, there's an opportunity to change people's lives. Although I will say, I think when I look back at the end of my career, the biggest single thing is a new project we launched about 3 months ago that has the potential to transform the developing world, creating digital entrepreneurs right across the developing world. And we haven't even gone public with it yet, but it's already shaping up to be the most significant thing I've ever done. So it's a project that we haven't even announced yet. That would be my biggest success so far, given the momentum we've had already just in preparing for it. I'm super excited.
Oh, that sounds great. And I love that you measure your success by the success you create for other people. That's a fantastic way to measure success for sure. And I don't know about you, but for a lot of people that I talk to, their personal definition of success has changed quite dramatically throughout the years. Is that something that you've experienced too?
Well, I was fortunate early on. I studied under some very successful mentors who taught me the definition of success was the progressive realization of worthwhile dreams and goals.
Mm-hmm.
And so that definition was my first definition of success. And so, no, it didn't change.
Oh.
How I defined that within there changed, of course,
Yes.
as I went through the different phases. But I was, the part about that really resonates for me is progressive realization.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As entrepreneurs, we're terrible at this because we just measure the end result. Did we get our goal, or did we close the deal, or did we, marry that gal, or whatever it is? Like it's not a journey so much as a finish point all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that from a goal setting perspective, and because you teach mindset work,
Mm-hmm.
is you're never happy.
Exactly.
Because you're there, you've accomplished it, now you're on to the next one. And it's fleeting. And I dated a girl early on who was a rabid environmentalist and became a race car driver. How's that for a transition?
Wow.
And just found her passion. And, when you find your passion, you find your passion. But she was one of those people that was only satisfied if she won the race.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, she was a really good racer and learned from really great people. So she would win a fair bit. But as a race car driver, if you win 1 in 6 races, you're a rock star. Yeah. So what does that mean? That means 5 races you're losing. Okay. So you're always, in her case, she was always disappointed in those 5. And then the one she would win, she'd be super excited at the finish line and then immediately preparing for the next race. And it was all gone. Mm-hmm. And so she was going on these massive emotional rides up and down and super frustrating experience. And ultimately it ended our relationship because she couldn't enjoy the journey. She was an incredible racer and got better and better and better at it. She couldn't enjoy the journey. She only enjoyed the victory at the end. And I'm sure some people tuning in are like that. And if you are, you seek out people like Claudia to change your mind, because it's a tough way to live your life if you're looking only at the finish line. Once you're hooked up to the journey, you shared, rightly so, made and lost millions as part of my background. I have that in my bio. I've had it for years. I will always have it for years, because that journey has taught me more than just the wins. Some of the best lessons that we all learn are when we drop the ball, or when we fail, or when we, don't succeed, or however you define it. Some of our best lessons come from, or let me rephrase that. Some of our best lessons ought to come from that. Some people, I will admit, go through 20 years of entrepreneurship and they basically had the first year of entrepreneurship 20 times and they don't learn anything. But let's keep that crowd aside. The rest of us, right, should be learning from our mistakes. And learning from other people's mistakes, right? Yeah. And that's a big part of to me being a great entrepreneur. And so So, it's a good question, but for me, the definition has always stayed the same: the progressive realization of worthwhile dreams and goals.
I really like that. And I relate a lot to your story because for me, as you might know, I've changed my career quite dramatically too. So I'm a molecular biologist.
I'm surprised you didn't stay and become a sheep farmer in New Zealand, because I tell you, it's a pretty part of the world. You go down there, you may never leave. I mean, half that country is immigrants who go there and never leave, right?
It's so pretty. It really is that pretty.
Yeah.
No, but I had kind of like the same experience that you talked about, because when you're in science, about 80 to 90% of what you do, like I did lab work, so basic research, and probably, let's say 90% at least, are failures. So you do an experiment and you fail, or at least you don't get the result that you were hoping for. But in academia, you also have the pressure, because when you get those results, you can't publish. So you're kind of stuck with them. It's
Congratulations, I found another way this doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't make for good reading, does it?
No. So that was so disappointing. And it was one of the reasons why I decided to change career as well, just because I couldn't enjoy that journey it was interesting to do the science and to find out what worked or what didn't work. But if you are only judged by the positive results that you generate, it's really frustrating. And I don't think it's a good system at all, because it leads people to, in the worst cases, cheat because they need the funding and they can't continue without the funding, and they don't get the funding if they don't have the right results that they can publish. So
well, and that's interesting. You commented on the guaranteeing results and how unique that was for us, and it is. A lot of people in our space, as you know, sell information and wisdom, and they don't link it to results whatsoever. It's got nothing to do with that. And so what happens is, hello, look at that smiling face. Good morning, or is it good afternoon? I don't know how to say good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hey, Emma. Oh, that's really nice. Okay.
Can she hear us, or are you on headsets? No, she can hear us?
She can hear us, yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Can you go back and find Oma, please? Okay. Oh, okay. We'll just continue. And
yeah, no problem.
I'm sure Grandma's coming to pick her up any second.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What were we just talking about?
Life. Commenting on the guarantee.
Oh, yes. So in the information knowledge space, a lot of people sell wisdom and knowledge, and they don't guarantee results. And, it's sort of like, my job is to sell it to you and your job is to use it. In fact, Dan Kennedy famously said that. I met him in the 80s, a long time ago. And he famously said, my job's to sell you the beep, beep, beep. Your job is to use it. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time I heard that. And I was like, holy cow. And then I met him. I had a chance to meet him at this event privately, and behind I got invited into the VIP group. I was a young, enthusiastic kid, talked my way in, and I met him personally and talked to him. And I asked him about that. And that's what he said. He said, son, my job's to sell you the shit. Your job's to use it. And at least he was transparent.
Yeah.
Right. At least he was transparent. He didn't pretend his job was to get us to use his material. And the problem with that is most people don't apply it.
True.
60% of books are not even physical books, business books now. 60% are not even opened when they're bought.
Wow.
Like, think about that. You take the time to buy a book, you want that topic, and then it just sits there, right? It's such a waste. So, part of our mission is to call out that part of our industry. We call it the entrepreneur education cabal, because they just want to sell you stuff. They don't care whether you use it or not. They just want to sell you stuff. Well, you know what? We don't need more stuff. We need more results. We need more impact, right?
Yes to that.
Yeah.
So when you look at your track record of building more than 80 businesses, it seems that one thing that you have mastered is the art of being super productive. So can you share what your personal productivity system looks like?
Yeah, it's interesting. If I was to rate my various skills, I would probably rate that as a middle of the road, which is funny because I'm sure to some people that they would think I was nuts. There are some things that I do that definitely increase my productivity that I've learned, but I don't consider myself a master in this area whatsoever. Like people like Alex Sharfin, to me, are masters at this craft. But the things that I think I am good at in this area is distinguishing strategy from tactics. Most entrepreneurs are just responding or reacting rather than being strategic about what they do and how they focus. And I'll give you an example. We have regularly scheduled strategic planning times with my business partner who lives in Melbourne, Australia. As you know, I live on the west coast of Canada, and so it's quite different time zones. And we schedule strategic planning time in twice a week, and it is sacred for us, absolutely sacred. And yesterday was one of those times. As we record this call, yesterday happened to be one of those times. Well, we were working on project one, let's just call it. And the idea was, what can we do in the next 30 days to move project one forward? That was the topic of the session. And in the process, we created a brand new, for lack of a better term, combination of some of the biggest things we're doing now, put it all together, and came up with a brand new idea to launch in that same time frame. Wow. And then we drilled down on it and what we could do and how we could do it. And literally, by the time this airs, we're going to have launched a program that will guarantee $10 million for an entrepreneur in their business instead of $1 million, our current biggest program.
Wow.
I mean, like an order of magnitude bigger than anything we've ever offered. And for the testing of it, instead of 10% down, which would be the normal on a program like that, it's going to be a fraction of that. It's going to be literally 2.5% down. And we're going to guarantee $10 million in sales. And we're so excited, like so excited, but it only came up because we were being strategic on a regular basis. Yeah. And that's one of the things I find most business owners don't do. They're reacting instead of planning. And then the other thing I do is I get up early. I mean, it's as we record this, it's 7:30 in the morning on the West Coast. I've been up for 3 hours. Wow. And so for me, one of my productivity tips is just I learned to become an early riser. Over 80% of self-made millionaires are early risers. When I read that data point, I was not an early riser. And so I literally joined the Canadian Naval Reserves to spend a summer in boot camp to learn to get up early. Because I was like, okay, I want to be one of those. I am not one of those. What's the only way I can imagine if someone forces me to get up early? Okay, I'll join the military. So I joined the military for a summer for one reason. Not to serve my country. We're Canada. We don't get shot at a lot. Not to do any of that, but to learn how to get up early, because everyone knows the military gets up early. And I learned that in one summer. I learned to get up early. I became an early riser. And ever since then, that was 18 or 17 at the time. Ever since then, I've been an early riser. And so those are probably the two biggest things that have contributed to the productivity, for sure.
Great. Hang on just a sec. I need to get rid of this little monster here. So sorry, Tom.
No problem. That's part of the advantages and disadvantages of working from home. It's both, right?
It is. And then there's, the Corona crisis, and they are with their grandma at the moment, and she's doing homework with the son. So little one got away.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't mind at all.
Okay. So thank you so much for those tips. They were really great tips. And I love how everyone has their own productivity system. And I know that productivity can be such a huge struggle for entrepreneurs when they are wearing like too many hats and they're getting pulled in too many directions, which is why I'm creating my new Get Your Life Back Productivity Powerhouse course for entrepreneurs right now, which teaches them my system for winning back 1 to 2 hours of precious time each day. So I find that productivity is a very complex topic when you really think about it. And the root of the problem is so much deeper than most people realize. Because before we can truly become productive, we have to understand what we're currently doing that's causing all the problems in the first place, right? And it all starts with that awareness, because we can't change what we are not aware of. And then we must also get very, very clear about what we want and what we don't want, so that we don't accidentally get very good at and very productive at doing the wrong things.
Yep, absolutely. Amen to that one, sister.
So,
I can tell you a couple of stories on that topic, let me tell you.
I know. So my approach to this complex problem is a mix of self-development and neuroscience and behavioral science, psychology, and a little bit of behavioral economics. And I'm super excited about this new project because I hope that we can avoid problems like these for the entrepreneurs who will go through.
Awesome. Good for you. It sounds like compelling work. And I know that being more efficient, more strategic with their time is certainly one of the biggest force multipliers in business. So it could have a huge impact. So good for you.
I hope so, yeah. So from your experience, what are the biggest mistakes that you have either made yourself or that you see other entrepreneurs make that make their success story unnecessarily longer or harder?
Oh, great question. Right at the top of the list for the last 10 years is selling stuff or training instead of the results we want from having learned the stuff or training. There are different ways to phrase this. You can talk about selling outcomes or results or applied benefits of the benefits. Jeff Walker calls it that. Different people call it different things, but the biggest single mistake I see entrepreneurs make is they sell their stuff rather than what their stuff leads to that we actually care about. And I'll give you an example. There's my gratitude alarm going off. I'm grateful for Claudia. I'm grateful for my son, Tyler, and I'm grateful for Claudia's daughter for smiling this morning. So the idea here, sorry, I lost my train of thought on my gratitude alarm. What were we just talking about?
We were talking about the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make.
Oh yes, thank you. Selling stuff. Selling stuff instead of selling results. Right? So this is super, super important because look how easy entrepreneurs get distracted, right? We get distracted really, really easy. Well, guess what? Your clients get distracted too. Your clients get distracted too. We have 3 divisions in our company. One is a mastermind division where we help local entrepreneurs set up and run masterminds all across the globe. And what we have learned is that nobody wants a mastermind. Nobody wants a mastermind. Even though I believe masterminds done right are the greatest force for good in business, I also believe nobody wants a mastermind. What they want is what a mastermind will bring them. More clients, more strategic partners, people to bounce ideas off of, people to bounce, troubles off of in a safe environment where you can get supportive feedback. There's a whole bunch of things you can get out of a mastermind, but they don't want a mastermind. They don't want, in our case, it's 6 hours a month. They don't want to give up 6 hours a month. They don't want to pay big money. What they want are the results that come from that. And so the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make that take them way longer to monetize their business is they are stuck selling things, features, benefits, maybe if they're a little bit better trained, rather than outcomes. And that is such an important thing. So take your personal productivity information you were just talking about. We don't want to be more productive. We actually don't want to be more productive. We want what being more productive brings us.
Yes.
So if we're women entrepreneurs want more clients, more impact. Men entrepreneurs want more profit, more sales. Generally speaking, those are the distinctions. So if you're targeting male entrepreneurs, we want more profit, more sales. So, my second book is called Earn Twice as Much with Half the Stress. Gee, who do you think I'm focusing on? Right? Men who want leverage in their lives. Well, that could have been your productivity program, Earn Twice as Much with Half the Stress. Right? Same idea. So that right at the top of the list is learning to sell outcomes. The second thing, for sure, because it's so easy to be a solopreneur and not build teams today, is a phrase we teach in our master classes all the time. Just because you don't have someone to delegate it to doesn't mean you should be doing it. And the corollary to that, since you're a PhD, I can say a big word like that. The corollary is who, not how. Who, not how. So you're running your podcast. Are you going to do all the editing? Are you going to do the show notes? Are you going to do all the marketing for it? Are you going to do all that? Most people in the podcast world do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means you can't grow your business, because for every hour you're doing that, you're not growing your business. You're not out seeking guests even, because for every hour you're editing, you're not doing that. And what the trap a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the early stages of their business, is they think, well, I can't afford to hire someone, therefore I should do it myself. That's a false choice. I'm here to tell you, if you're listening, that's a false choice. At the very least, recognize it's a false choice. You may still want to keep on editing it, but at least own it.
Yes.
Own it, because you could find out just by asking the question, well, who could I get to do that? You start asking that question around your circle of influence, your friends, your contacts, your people you're interviewing, and all of a sudden you go, who did they do what? For how much? And they do all of it? Oh my God, what am I doing? Right? Like, there are people out there who specialize in doing the things you ought not to be doing. They're better at it. They're more efficient at it. And the value proposition for you that frees up your time to do the stuff where you can really have impact is much, much more important. We all know that, but we don't act that way.
It's true.
So if you know it and you don't do it, do you really know it? I mean, seriously, right? It's like, I don't think so, because that just intellectually knowing it but not doing it, that's not knowing it. That's not knowing it. You might intellectually understand it, but that's not knowing it. Right. So I think that's the second biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make, is that they think, because I don't have the resources, I should be doing all these things, rather than being strategic. And the third, and quite related to that, is Peter Drucker had a phrase about business that was designed for mega business, but it applies to entrepreneurs, I think, even more. He said that the purpose of a business is marketing and innovation, period. Marketing and innovation. So if you're the leader of your business, and your business might be a business of one, most of your time, marketing and innovation. Marketing and innovation. What's innovation? Better ways to serve your clients. Creating new programs like you're doing, creating new courses, creating new whatever. Like, that's innovation. Innovation is also, though, taking your marketing and working to make it better. Testing new headlines, testing new free gifts, testing new summits you're going to participate in or run, or whatever the case may be. Different strategies change, right? That's innovation as well. And then marketing, I don't call it marketing, I call it lead generation and lead conversion. Mm-hmm. Because I find most entrepreneurs get all confused when it comes to sales and marketing and advertising and all these topics, because they're not necessarily schooled in it. And frankly, the schools who teach most of this are crap. And so by calling it lead generation and lead conversion, it's really simple to understand. So I do podcasts to give back as my primary motivation. But my secondary reason for doing it is we give away these scholarships for one of our high ticket programs, which we'll talk about at some point today.
Yes.
And that the way we measure that is how many people from your podcast signed up for our scholarship. And it's a free program. It's $10,000. So you're not making a bunch of money when you give away one of these on your show, but we will tag them so that if they ever do spend money, you get a referral fee because they've come from your audience. Wow. That's just good business, but no one does it on a podcast show for that reason. They do it. It's like, sure, I'm happy to help offer that. And if our listeners can get a scholarship to one of your high-end courses, that's great. Right. And so that's another aspect of looking at the measurable results. I could go on, but I also know I want to stick to your time frames for the overall podcast. So does that help get you started on that?
Absolutely. Those were great answers. As Tom pointed out, this episode was getting a little long, which is why I decided to turn it into 2 episodes. So this is the end of part 1. So make sure you don't miss part 2 of this episode, where Tom talks about why, contrary to what most people will tell you, a high ticket offer should be the first offer you put together, what the fastest way is to 10x your business, and what sharks, dolphins, and carp have to do with that. Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show. It would mean the world to me because you'd help me reach more entrepreneurs like yourself who would love this show. If you'd like to learn more about creating a widely successful business without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity, make sure to stick around and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And why don't you help me spread the word and share this show with your friends? I'd really appreciate it, and I'm sure your friends will too. Want to continue this conversation, build real relationships, and join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs? Come join my free Facebook community for visionary entrepreneurs. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, grab my free brain priming audio file for entrepreneurs and start priming your brain for success in less than 5 minutes each morning. Curious? You can learn more about how this works and download the audio file at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions. Until next time, bye!